Podcast 1987.
Feels like it.
Podcast 122.
122.
I'm healed up. Chris is healed up. And Chris got a comment about a question on YouTube that somebody wanted us to talk about.
Yeah.
It's kind of a not really a exciting topic, but I guess it could help some people.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll cover this today, and I think like the next few weeks podcast, we're going to start covering food plot plannings and things because we're in the kind of we're getting it here. It's planning season, so I feel like the next few weeks we'll jump into that. Uh,
Yeah. I'll be planting my screening, so I'll probably have some videos on that.
yeah, so we'll talk about some screening and whether you're planting clover or buckwheat or soybean, whatever it is, we'll go over the
Yeah.
whole 9 yards. So what was your YouTube comment question? Are you pulling it up?
So so this is
Who is it though?
um
Give what's his name?
that's what I'm looking at. Like his comment, it says at little fawn killer.
All right.
but when you punch on his page,
Yeah.
he's called Ruddy Buck.
Ruddy Buck.
Ruddy Buck. So he makes a comment and he says, Chris, could you do a video or give suggestions to hanging posted signs or painting purple lines? Looking for the easiest, most affordable way, spray paint or a bucket of paint. And he says, it just seems like a big hassle. And then
Mm,
he wrote, have you ever done paper signs or plastic? He says
mm.
he guesses that they fade or break.
All right. Well, I got a lot of
So,
experience with this.
yeah, we could talk about this.
All right.
It might not
So,
take a half hour, but we'll get it in.
all right. So I'll explain
Mm.
I started using originally years ago, I started using paper signs. And I remember my grandfather, or actually my uncle, um, the property next to my parents' house years ago. I was a little kid, and I remember he wanted the property posted. So me and my dad posted the property, and I remember us taking we had like a sheet of plywood, and we cut out a 1 by 1 piece of wood, and we'd put the paper sign, the roll of paper signs you buy, and we would stick it to that wood, staple it on there, and then screw that to the tree. And they would last, you know, for maybe like 2 years, and they start peeling and dry rotting, cracking, and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. That's what we did years ago. So recently, I'd say 8 years ago, I posted my property in Pennsylvania, 100 acres, 108 acres. You helped post as well. Um, and I used the paper signs, and
Hmm.
I made up a bunch of them. I got a YouTube video when I was making the signs, and I did the same exact thing. Problem is, the squirrels would eat the paper signs. They rip them off the wood. I did the same thing. I took a 1 by 1 piece of plywood, half-inch thick, I guess, and then screwed it to the tree, stapled the sign to it. It would last roughly a year. Every single year, I'd have to go back through and repost it again because the squirrels would eat the paper signs, and after a few years, the wood would dry rot, warp, things like that.
Yeah.
So then I saw in Tractor Supply that they made plastic no trespassing signs. They were 1 by 1, kind of like a thick plastic. I still have probably a couple hundred of them downstairs. And at Tractor Supply, they were like 250, 289 a piece. So I said, let me try Walmart. So I went to Walmart. They had the same exact sign, and they're 98 cents. And they're a plastic piece of uh, sign. So then I started posting the property with that. And then I started using, I don't know exactly what they're called. I think they use them on when they put the paper down on a
Yeah.
roof.
Button nails.
Yes, what they got the head on, like the plastic. Is that what
Plastic
it is?
button. Yeah.
Button net. Okay,
Yep.
and they're orange. So I used 4 of those, one in each corner, and I put them to the tree.
Hmm.
Those lasted at my new property. I got them there, and I posted it one time, and they lasted 3 years. Never had a problem with them.
Yeah.
Um, so I would definitely recommend the plastic signs, and I would definitely recommend posting your property, the entire property. Post every tree, 20 feet, whatever it is, just so
Yeah.
there's no excuses for, in case you do have an issue where you have to call the police or something, and they say, "Oh, I didn't see a sign," and the cop can go
Yeah.
there, officer, DNR, whatever, and they can see the signs every 20 feet.
Hmm.
Um, Now, as far as the purple paint goes, I got a lot of experience with this. I started using the spray paint, the purple spray paint. The stuff is junk.
Yeah.
Um, it is junk. So you put it on the tree and you can see it okay, but it soaks into the tree, and after a year, it's faded, it's gone, you can barely see it.
Yep.
So I guess it would have been like 5 years ago, I bought the gallon paint and I pulled it up on the website for him to uh, look at it. And it's called Magic No Hunting Purple Paint. It's in a gallon jug.
Okay.
It says new latex flat formula. Well, I bought this and it's $39 for a gallon.
Hmm.
Well, this stuff, you take a brush, whatever it is, 2 inches wide or whatever, and you paint the tree in a stripe, a rectangle.
Yeah.
The stuff is super bright. It doesn't
Vivid, huh?
fade, vivid. Bright, doesn't fade, doesn't chip off, doesn't peel off, and it lasted. I mean, it was bright.
Now,
So,
let
yeah,
me interject something.
yeah.
I've heard, now I can't prove this,
Hmm.
I've heard that that has a certain hue or something in it, mixed right in it, that even colorblind people can see a shade of that and know that that tree's been painted. So
That's
now
it's
police
very possible.
officers, when they come out, because these people come on and they can, oh, I'm colorblind. I couldn't see that purple paint. Well,
Hmm.
now they supposedly, now this is what I heard. I can't prove it. If anybody knows, drop it in the comments.
Yep.
They supposedly there's something in this new purple paint, this hunter paint specifically, that colorblind people can see a certain shade of it.
So I'm reading the
So,
description of it. It doesn't say anything about that, but it
okay.
could be.
But that's what I heard. Now, I went to Lowe's looking for purple paint for hunting purposes, and they said they do not get it anymore. So
Yes.
what they do is they do a color match.
Yeah.
They
And
have a swath of it and they can color match it and mix it like that.
yeah.
But if that's true with the colorblind folk, maybe this Lowe's color match thing wouldn't have that in it, and you might be able to be shot down in a court of law over all that.
Yeah,
Just a thought. I don't know. Food
I
for
don't
thought.
think them mixing it would be as good.
No, doesn't
Because
sound
I
like it.
have another gallon of this paint downstairs. Because I had the original gallon. I
Hmm.
used like the whole thing on the 108-acre property, posted literally all the trees.
Hmm.
Then I bought this other gallon for my new property, but I never ended up using it.
Hmm.
So I have that now, which I was gonna be a good friend and gift it to to a guy named Chris,
Oh, you the man.
uh, because I don't need it. So, but this paint, dude, I'm telling you, it's so bright and just, I mean, it just sticks out. And if anybody's looking for it, all it is from Agri Supply. It's
Mm.
if you go to Agri Supply's website, that's the only place I can find it. I know Tractor Supply at one point used to sell a brand of it, but now they
Hmm.
don't have it anymore.
Hmm.
Lowe's used to sell the spray paint, but they don't have that no more.
Oh,
Um, I think the what's that store up by you? The big store that we and you went to that one day. It's in Clearfield.
um,
What is that
the
big?
Grice's gun shop, that huge one
No, nope. It's
in
got the red
Clearfield.
sign.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rural King.
Royal King.
Yeah.
Royal King has it now. They did have it in Kentucky when I was out there. They had the gallons.
Hmm.
I'm assuming the one by you would have it as well.
Probably.
If you want to buy it local instead of ordering online. But for the people watching the video, this is what it is here. If it There it goes. Yeah, so it's no hunting purple when it's latex and it's made by. Magic, which is or not, is it Magic? I think it's
You said Agritech or something.
well, that's the website.
Oh,
But I think it's Magic is the brand, but Agri Supply sells it. But yeah, so if you're looking to post that, I would definitely use the
yeah.
gallon, 100%.
Yeah, the when we got done posting the property that we used to have here in PA, you had a can of it left over, so I took it down in my woods and I sprayed some swaths on the trees, and it didn't even last a whole year. I
No,
mean,
if it fades and soaks into the tree.
yeah, it's gone. You
It does
can't
not
even
work good.
tell.
Yep.
Now I don't have a whole lot of experience posting property except when you and I did the property, the 108 acres. But I did do a little bit here at the house because I was having an issue with the neighbors crossing over and walking their dogs and that type of thing. And I warned them all and then put the signs up. And I just took a staple gun to those Mylar signs, those yellow signs, and
Yeah.
I put a staple in four corners. But the wind gets behind them and blows one corner off, and then it starts flapping, and then the next thing you know it
Yep.
it's either hanging there on one staple flapping in the wind, and it looks like a deer tail. Catches
Mhm.
your eye, and you look. It's like, oh, was that a deer? Oh no, it's
Yep.
just one of my posted signs flapping.
Yep.
Or like you said, the red squirrels will just chew the snot out of them and just take them right off the tree, and then they
Yep.
do end up blown away through the woods.
Yeah.
Uh, here's a question I don't know either for the folks or you if you know the answer. So you can drop that in the comments below about the hue, the colorblind thing, or this. This question comes up a lot, and I might just Google it online right now after I ask it live. Does your yellow posted signs have to be signed to be legal? I
I
get
th-
that question a lot, and I don't know the answer. So let's Google
I
that.
I think in Maryland, yes, they do
Okay,
have to be
let's Google
signed.
it.
I'm pretty sure.
Bear with me.
Yep.
Do your posted signs have to be signed in ink to be legal?
Chris and his new phone.
It says no. In Pennsylvania, posted signs on your property to indicate no trespassing do not need to be signed in ink to be legally valid. The signs simply need to be posted in a manner reasonably likely to come to the attention of potential trespassers.
Hmm.
A simple sign stating no trespassing or private property is sufficient, and it doesn't require a signature from the property owner.
I just did Maryland as well.
Okay, to elaborate, Pennsylvania's trespassing laws emphasize that the posted signs need to provide clear notice that unauthorized entry is prohibited and be placed where they are likely to be seen. The primary concern is to make it clear to individuals that their property is private and they are not permitted to enter without authorization. Let's see, key points. PA law does not require a signature on posted signs, including no trespassing signs. Clear notice. The main legal requirement is that the sign provides clear notice that entry is unauthorized. Visibility. The sign needs to be placed in a manner that is reasonably likely to come to the attention of trespassers, such as on the perimeter of the property and at entrances. So there's your answer. I guess I didn't need to ask the question. I should have read that first.
So Maryland says basically the same thing. It says no trespass signs do not need to be signed by the property owner. The key is to have the signs posted clearly and visible on the property, often at points of entry like roads or adjoins public areas. Then it says uh, alternative signs. In Maryland, we use blue paint,
Oh,
not purple.
yeah?
Yeah, Maryland is blue paint
Oh,
um, for trees. You can do it, put it on posts or trees or whatever it is. Now, when I was in Uh, where was I just at? Um, when I was in Elkton, consulting 2 weeks ago, up there in that area, there were so many properties that were blue paint, and I saw a lot of people that had like sheds on their
Hmm.
property within the property, and it would be trees. It'd be blue paint, blue paint, blue paint, blue paint, and then a shed, and they marked the shed with blue stripes on it. And then it went back to the trees. Blue paint, blue paint, blue paint.
Oh boy.
But yeah, blue paint is in Maryland.
Hmm.
Purple paint is uh Pennsylvania. But I think if you go out west, like Illinois, those areas, I think it's blue out there as well.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
So here's an interesting thought. This says, can cops ignore your no trespassing sign? And it says, if a police officer has reasonable suspicion that the object of a crime is on your property or somebody needs help in an emergency, he does not have to obey a no trespassing sign.
Mhm.
Okay, what's this one says? It says, does a no trespassing sign or posted sign protect you from being sued? It says, these warning signs help protect property owners from liability when visitors or trespassers get injured on their property.
Mhm.
So you should be safe. You should not get sued. Ain't that something? You got to worry about that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's crazy.
Here's one for Dave. Can you harm someone trespassing on your property?
No.
Individuals have the right to use reasonable force, including deadly force, to protect themselves against an intruder in their home. That don't even have to do with trespassing. What's that all
No.
about? That's the castle doctrine. That's what that is. You probably learned about that in your last gun class.
I did. Somebody comes in my house, I'm using any kind
Lethal
of
force.
any kind of force that I can put forward.
So, yeah, I am probably gonna have to post some of the mother-in-law's property over there
You're
real
bitter
soon.
about it.
I am.
You had a trespasser.
I did. I did. They showed up on the reveal cell cam.
Yeah, see, look at that. Now Chris is up to date with new technology and cell cameras, and this guy gets a trespasser coming through, and he caught it on the reveal camera,
Yes, I did. I did.
and he sent it to me, and he
I was
was he
bitter.
was he was chafed.
I was chafed. I was raw.
You
Yes, I was.
and you don't know who it was.
I don't. I don't. Never seen this fella.
In
I'm
that
guessing
small
he's
community up there, you don't know who he is.
no. There's so many campers. I don't.
Yeah.
They're from Ohio. They're from Pittsburgh.
Was he by himself?
He was actually. He was by himself.
Which way
It
was he
might.
coming from? Like houses or?
He was coming from like Dove from like the field.
Hmm.
He was coming out of the field and coming walking parallel to the field.
He
I
looked
think
spooky.
I well he the picture of him, he was kind of hidden behind a pine brow.
Right.
It was almost like he stopped there momentarily when the camera snapped. Like he was like looking around, like what's around here. My thought is he probably seen that flock of turkeys and was in there scouting around.
Possibly.
But I also found a tree stand there, and I put a note on it to please remove it before I
Did
do.
you?
Yeah, I did.
Did they
Yeah,
move it yet?
no, no. I think it's abandoned. Because I actually went over, like I said, I put that note on it last year before New Year's, and even that guy walked right past it. He probably read the note, but he didn't touch it.
Remember the note we put on at the old farm on
Yeah,
the tree stand we found?
yeah,
I
yeah.
put a note right on that thing. It sat there for a year. Nobody touched it. Well, guess what? I took the stand down.
It got relocated.
It got relocated. Yep. Shouldn't have been there.
Well, if it makes it to next hunting season here, I'll probably relocate it too,
Hmm.
and maybe I'll haul it all the way out into public land, and I'll use it.
So funny story about that. So the new farm I had 3 years ago. The first year when me and Zach leased it, we went through the property, met the landowner, and he's like, there's nobody hunting on this property. You two are the only people.
Hmm.
I give you permission. If there's any tree stands, if there's anything on the property, take them down.
Okay.
Said okay. So we scout the property. We walk through it. Guess what? There was a
Fine.
ladder stand, and it was about 50, I'd say 25 yards onto our property, facing into our property. It looked like a used, used tree stand, ladder stand. They had it chained to the tree. Well,
Hmm.
guess what I did? I took a sawzall to it and I cut this thing down
Hmm.
and I set a camera up. And literally, like the same day, I think it was, I caught this guy on a four wheeler coming in with corn stacked onto his four wheeler.
Oh
And
wow.
you can see him looking around like, what happened to my tree stand? So later, something happened where he must have contacted a neighbor or something, and then the neighbor contacted our landowner. Landowner called us. He's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Dude, you told us to take the stands down." He's like,
Right.
"Yeah, I understand, but he's like, it's fine, but this guy wants to know where it is." I said, "Well,
Yeah.
it's in pieces. We cut it in half." So I ended up calling the guy. We talked to him, me, Zach, and this guy. We talked to him on three-way phone call.
Uh-huh.
And the guy wasn't mad at all. Like, I mean, he didn't seem mad, but we're like, dude, look, we understand. I even offered to pay the guy for his stand. I was like, dude, I'll give you 100. It was like $100 cheap ladder stand. I'll give you a hundred
Uh-huh.
bucks. Like, but you can't hunt here. Like, I understand if you've been hunting here for years illegally, you shouldn't have been there. He's like, nah. He's like, my grandfather, did used to hunt up on your ridge there. So the guy's like admitting to where he hunted the heck out of this property. And our
Right.
landowner, like, he was, let me say, he was a little bit handicapped,
Okay.
and he was being taken advantage of by all his neighbors. Like
Gotcha.
they were just hunting his property. He couldn't do nothing about it. He couldn't get in. He couldn't get around. He couldn't get back in the woods. So they were just taking advantage of him. So we put it to a stop. I posted the property, took down the tree stand. I talked to the guy on the phone. I said, look, dude, you can't hunt here. I said, we're leasing it. I'm sorry. I said, I'll give you $100 for your tree stand. I cut it up. I admit it. I cut it. It shouldn't have been there. I said, if you've been hunting there for years, I apologize, but it's done. You can't hunt there. I said, now, I said, if you're hunting the neighboring property, that's we're hunting each other, within each other. I said, if you have a deer that comes over, I said, come get it, and I hope I get the same, respect out of that. I said, I'll help you find your deer. You shoot a deer. Just call me, text me. Here's my number, whatever, but you can't hunt on this property. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. He's like, don't worry about it. He's like, you don't have to pay me for my stand, this, that, and the other. And I said, well, what about the stand up on the ridge? Because there was another stand up on the ridge and that we missed. I didn't see it. He's like, that's my grandfather's stand. That thing's been there for 20 years and he hasn't hunted it in the past 10. I
Hmm.
said, well, either come get it or I'm going to take it down. And he said, I'll come get it. So he came onto the property like a couple days later, took the stand down, and he was gone. Never ever heard from him again in 3 years.
Now, did was there any posted signs there? Was the line marked, or what was going on there?
The property was not posted,
Okay.
but
But he knew the line because he
oh,
told you he was hunting.
he knew. They
He
they
knew.
hunted. Oh yeah, he knew. He they. I'm telling you, the landlord even told me that the other neighbor during rifle season, that guy would come up from the back with like six people, and they would
Oh,
hunt the crap out of that property. He said they've been to court and all this stuff many times, and he couldn't get it to stop. Well, guess what? I got it to stop in the first year because guess what I did? I went to the police station and
I,
I filed a report on him, and um the guy when I went there to file it, the guy comes out, the officer comes out, and he's like, He's like, "Yeah, is your landowner named this guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's him." I was like, "How'd you know?" He's like, "These two neighbors, all they do is butt heads." He's like,
Mm,
"We have a long history of these guys." I said, "Well, look, man." I said, I'm leasing the property. I have the rights of the property, the hunting rights of it." I said, I don't want anybody on there. Nobody, the guy's not supposed to be there. If he's on the property, he's trespassing." I said, "The
yeah.
property is posted now. No sign, no trespassing signs, purple paint. Like nobody's on there. And if I catch somebody, I'm gonna call the police or I'm gonna file a report." So he ended up coming out talking to the neighbor, and then I ended up having to talk to that guy. And that guy apparently, I think he was lying, but he said that it was an older guy. He had a misunderstanding of the property lines.
Uh,
Where they were hunting, he thought it was his property.
hmm.
And I said, "Well, it's not your property. It's a whole nother person that owns the property in between us."
Oh wow.
So I said, "You're unaware of your property lines." I said, I'll come over and show you. I'll mark your property for you, whatever, but don't come on my property." And after that, never had a problem.
Well, we're getting near our 30-minute mark, but I want to tell a horror story before we go.
Hmm.
All this posted stuff, just for people to be aware.
Is this a
There,
horror story because you drank Swiss Miss and crapped yourself?
no,
That's
no,
unfortunate.
you're you're telling you're telling dumb stories again.
That would have been funny.
Actually, I might have drank Swiss Miss and had an instant whiz.
Oh my.
But no, this happened locally, not too far from my home. Now, this posted thing, like if you're not part of the landowners bunch of folks that is allowed on that property, stay the heck out because this is
Hmm.
what happens, okay? This is a really rare instance, but this is what happens. Okay, it was bear season. There was a group of guys pushing properties, and they came and they thought that they would push across this man's property even though it was posted. There was some guys, they didn't carry their guns so that they could say that they weren't legally hunting, but they pushed his property to try to push game off of his property. And the guy had trouble year after year after year with this group of guys pushing across his property. So he confronted them one day. And I'm sure tempers flared or whatever. And the property owner went back to his house and came back with an AK 47.
Ooh, it wasn't playing
And
around.
he wasn't playing around this day. And he ended up firing some rounds. Okay. He sprayed this group of people and he hit two of them
What?
and they ran for cover. And this group of folks returned fire and ended up killing the landowner.
What? That's
Yes.
crazy.
Yes. If my memory serves me correctly, I'm pretty sure they killed the guy.
Crazy.
Maybe I'm wrong. I can't. I'm pretty sure they did. But yeah, two people in that hunting party got hit, and this was all over posted property line stuff. Even though you're not carrying a gun and you're pushing, but if you're across the line on someone's property,
You shouldn't be
you're
there.
you're trespassing, man. You
Yep.
don't pay the taxes on that property. Stay the heck off, and you won't get shot at with an AK-47.
You know what bothers me is that why why do you even need signs?
Shouldn't.
I don't understand.
Nowadays with phones, everybody
I
carries a freaking phone. All you gotta do is download an app, and you can push a
Yeah,
button, and it tells you property lines.
the whole sign thing just blows my mind. Like somebody comes onto your property, no like trespassing. They're like, "Oh, I didn't see no signs." What? What do you need a sign for?
Yeah,
Is it your? Do you own the property? Well, no, I don't
yeah,
own it. Well, why are you here? It's not your
right.
property. What do you need a sign for? Are you stupid? Are you that
Even
stupid?
even public land is owned by somebody.
Yeah.
You know, even
It's
if it's state. You know, you should be able to tell if you're walking on state land or not. They have white dots usually painted on trees,
Mhm.
marking boundary lines in a state. I don't know how. I mean, I understand people get lost or
It's
turned around,
well, yeah, they do, I
or
guess, but
you don't have cell service in a really
yeah,
gnarly area or something.
right.
But once you return to cell service and you figure that you're not on the property you're supposed to be, you best get out of there, or you
Like
get an
when I
AK-47 shoved at you.
yeah, like when I get a property, man, I'm cautious of property lines. Like even when I post it, I stay off the line. Like I give it,
Yeah,
15
give them
feet
a
or
cushion.
something.
Yeah,
Right, just because and like I don't step foot off of it. I just because you got everybody has cell cameras. You don't want to be that guy where you're walking on somebody else's property and you get a picture taken and then people post it on Facebook. Who is this guy? They're trespassing on my land.
yeah.
You know, real quick story, 2 minute story. I went to New York turkey hunting with these guys. These guys invited me up there and this younger kid like set it all up. He took us up there and it was when I just started Whitetail Obsession Outdoors. And when I went up there, we had t-shirts on, we had hoodies on, big white letters on the back, Whitetail Obsession Outdoors. And we go up there, we turkey hunt this property, and the next day I come to find out where we turkey hunted, we didn't have permission to be there. And the
Oh
guy
boy.
caught us on trail camera.
Oh boy.
And I told the kid that orchestrated all this, I'm like, dude, you don't have permission to be here? He's like, oh no, I just wanted you to get a turkey. I said, well, I don't want to do it illegally. Like you know what I mean? Like, and even the guys that I went up there or met up there, they lived up there too, but they're the ones that taught me how to turkey hunt. They didn't know either. They assumed that we had permission to be there from this kid that organized all this.
Mm.
And about 3 years later, the kid that you know we went turkey hunting with, him and his buddy got busted in New York. It was like one of the biggest things that ever happened in any state for the amount of deer and stuff that these guys have illegally killed. They were spotlighting. It was all over the news.
Oh my.
Yeah, these two kids, they were trespassing. They were shooting deer illegally at nighttime with spotlights. Like it
You
was,
you're guilty by association.
you are. So you got to be careful what you do. You're guilty by association.
Oh boy.
End of story.
Well, we're at 33 minutes here, so we better cut this one off.
All
So
right,
that's episode
podcast.
122. All about posted signs and purple paint. Stay
Get the
off other
gown.
people's property,
Get the gown, not the spray paint.
or take an AK-47 to the face.
Yeah.
See ya.